Everyone, we're talking about the development of face, nose, and palate, and this section deals with the clinical correlates of what happens if the developmental process goes wrong. In this, we'll talk about cleft lip and cleft palate. We'll see if the development of the lip or the development of palate does not go as planned and how does a cleft actually develops there. Then we'll talk about the oblique facial cleft. Oblique facial cleft that develops obliquely across the face, that is due to somewhat anomalous development of the nasolacrimal groove and the nasolacrimal duct. And finally, we'll talk about microstomia and macrostomia, which are developmental anomalies of the tongue. So let's see what happens and how it actually happens. So cleft lip, so there's a cleft, referring to the figure, there's a cleft in the upper lip of the child. Let's see how does that develop. It commonly occurs in the upper lip, so cleft lip is more common in the upper lip. Its incidence is 1 in 1,000 births. The 60 to 80% children that are involved are usually males. In this, the mandibular section, mandibular process may fail to fuse in the midline to cause a cleft of the lower lip as well. Mostly they are of the upper lip. However, if the mandibular process it fails to fuse, it may lead to clefting of the lower lip. So let's talk about types of the cleft lip. So we can have a unilateral cleft lip, which is due to the failure of fusion of the maxillary process with the medial nasal process on the same side. So in the figure, this is a normal child. Here you can see a normal child. This is a left unilateral cleft in which the left maxillary fold failed to fuse with the left medial aspect of the medial nasal process. Here, this is what a left unilateral cleft is. We can have a bilateral cleft lip. It may be due to failure of fusion of maxillary process with the frontonasal process. So here you can see the maxillary process failed to fuse with the frontonasal process, as a result of which we have a bilateral cleft lip. We can have a central cleft lip or hair lip. It is due to the failure of development of philtrum of the upper lip. So if the philtrum is absent, we can have a hair lip or a central cleft lip. So now moving on to oblique facial cleft. So it is also known as orbitofacial fissure because it extends from the angle of the eye to the philtrum to the lateral aspect of the nose. So the maxillary process, it fails to fuse with the lateral nasal process. So the maxillary process, now it fails to fuse with the lateral nasal process. The fissure extends from the medial angle of the eye. Here you can see from the medial angle of the eye to the upper lip. So a complete fissure from the medial angle of the eye to the upper lip is present. The nasolacrimal duct, which is usually embedded within the substance, is now exposed to the anterior. It is usually bilateral. Now we have microstomia and macrostomia. So micro and macrostomia are actually defects of the mouth opening. If there is a larger opening, it is known as macrostomia, and if there's a small opening, it is known as microstomia. So if there's excessive fusion between the maxillary and the mandibular processes, it may lead to microstomia. Here in the figure, this is microstomia. And if there is arrest of fusion between the maxillary process and the mandibular process, this may lead to macrostomia, that is widening of the mouth. So the maxillary and the mandibular processes, they usually fuse with each other to form the angle of the mouth. However, if this process goes wrong, the child can either have macrostomia, which is a large mouth, that is shown in the figure here, and the child can either have microstomia, which is a small opening of the oral cavity, which is due to excessive fusion. So let's talk about the cleft palate now. The cleft palate is defective fusion of various segments of the palate. So here you can see this is the the area of the hard palate, which is not being which has a cleft in itself. So a person can have a unilateral complete cleft. Here you can see in the figure, this is a unilateral complete cleft that extends from the nasal cavity from the nasal cavity and into the palate. So the maxillary process on one side does not fuse with the premaxilla. So unilateral complete cleft may be due to the maxillary process. It does not fuse with the premaxilla. So the fusion with the premaxilla does not take place. It is also always associated with the cleft lip on the same side. So the child usually has a cleft lip on the same side. So bilateral complete cleft now, both the maxillary process, now here you can see both the maxillary process, they now fuse to they fail to fuse with the premaxilla. So there are opening on both the sides. The secondary palate is divided into two equal halves by a median cleft. Here you can see this is the median cleft, and the secondary palate is divided into two equal halves with an anterior V-shaped cleft separating the maxilla. So this is the V-shaped cleft that is separating the premaxilla completely. So this is a bilateral complete cleft palate. So what is incomplete or partial cleft palate? So in incomplete or partial cleft palate, we have a bifid uvula, which can be seen here. This is the bifid uvula. The cleft involves only uvula and it is of no clinical importance. Here you can see the cleft in the soft palate. This is the cleft, upper gum, and this is the hard palate, and this is the soft palate. This is a complete cleft. However, this is incomplete or partial cleft of a bifid uvula, leading to a bifid uvula. Now, cleft of soft palate involves uvula and the adjoining part of the soft palate. Here you can see this is a cleft in the soft palate. Now, another variety is cleft of the soft palate, which involves the uvula, whole of the soft palate, and extends into the hard palate. So in this case, we have cleft of soft palate, which goes from uvula to soft palate to the hard palate. So this was all about the clinical correlates of this presentation. In the clinical correlates, we talked about how various anomalies occur due to lack of development or lack of fusion of various components of the face, the palate, the nose, or the ear sinuses. The developmental anomalies are important because they are pretty abundant. The incidence is great, so it's better to know them and understand them and how to treat them. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. For further such lectures, keep watching sqadia.com.